Hey y'all, hey. It is Chalet. Good afternoon if you're on the East Coast. Good morning if you're on the West Coast. Thank y'all so much for joining us at Fly Newbie and Money today, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. Now, today we're going to get into a topic that has been trending, and some argue that Black churches emphasize independence for women rather than building families. And so we're going to discuss this. We're going to discuss the cultural impact, the expectations, and what it means for relationships in the community, in our community. So I've got some beautiful queens with me today. I've got Miss Black Hollywood herself, producer and entrepreneur extraordinaire. Hey, what's up? What's going on today? Good. She give me the I've got Dr. Alicia here, therapist, social work professor, and advocate for religious freedom. Hey, Dr. Alicia, how you doing today? And I got Miss Mary Dean Esquire in the building. Okay, how you doing, Mary? How you doing today? You good? All right. And I'm Chalet with Vital Source Realty in Boston on the East Coast. We got East to West today. All right, so let's get into today. No, you didn't throw it. Let's get into today's show. So today's conversation touches on culture, community, and relationships, the role of the Black church. Okay, it's a heavy one, right?
Yes.
Heavy but fun. Some critics say that instead of fostering family building, the church encourages women to be independent, comfortable, and self-sufficient. We'll discuss how these dynamics affect dating, partnerships, and long-term relationships, and how money, expectations, and societal pressures intersect in this context. So, ladies, just hearing about this topic, what is the first thing that comes to your mind as far as Black church and relationships, or Black women in relationships? We'll go to you, Tiara.
Being someone that is heavily involved in church, I sing in the choir at my church. I am very active. Shout out to California Worship Center. Our first lady is Erica Campbell, and Warren Campbell's our pastor. But I think that I mean, you can definitely get caught up in church and Jesus being your boyfriend if you are not careful. Those are my initial thoughts. Like there is definitely more women at our church than men, and I can see the points of that are being made. And if you're not careful, you can kind of get caught up in being like, I got it, me and my Jesus. Yeah.
Okay. Mary Dean Esquire. Okay. What about you, Hunty?
I have mixed feelings about the topic, I guess, because on some level, I kind of feel like I've spiritually outgrown church. I am not, religious anymore, but I am deeply spiritual. And so I can understand, and women have this thing called women's intuition. That's why the female was suppressed in religion and turned into the Holy Spirit, And so women are naturally spiritual. We hear what's not being said, the gift that we got because babies don't speak. So we get to hear the unspoken a lot louder and better than men. So I can understand. And when you get to that place spiritually where your provision comes from above and you really have that conduit, that you don't need, I won't say you don't need a man, but you don't really need people as much as you used to. You don't need anything outside of you when you have mastered what's inside of you. So
Okay, Dr. Alicia, what is your first initial thought? And then I'll tell you guys mine.
Oh, let me tell you, any opportunity to talk about the church, I get real excited about, because it is okay. You can be like Miss Black Hollywood and go to church religiously every Sunday and sing in the choir and go to Bible study on Wednesday and do all that. That's good, because that's what she needs. Or you can be like Miss Mary Dean and take more of a spiritual approach to the Bible, and you could incorporate manifestations, and you can incorporate all of these beautiful affirmations in your life, and that's okay.
Yes.
It is all fine. So I am an advocate for whatever you need in the moment.
Mhm.
that works for you. So I'm
Yes.
clapping it up. I love this topic today.
I love it. I love it. So my initial reaction to the topic is similar. It's similar to Miss Mary Bean, okay? Because I didn't grow up necessarily in the church and going to church every Sunday, but we did go to church. My mother did teach us about God. She had a Bible. She not quoting scriptures all the time, but I did some church, but also I have worked on my spirituality over the last 20 years. And so I would definitely say I'm more spiritual. I'm not so much religious, even though I say I'm a Christian because that's the way I was raised. I do believe, I was actually surprised to hear that to hear it said in that way, that the church is kind of grooming women to be independent, because from my church that I went to, they were all about getting married and meeting somebody in the church and stuff like that. But I can totally see it. Okay, I can totally see it. So let's go to our first video and then we'll get thoughts on that.
The Black church's focus is not on building families. It's about keeping women single, comfortable, independent. I said what I said. Just look at the numbers. The church is 70 to 80% single women. And the pastor want to sell these women this fairy tale, telling them that your Boaz is coming. Keep waiting, knowing good and well that there isn't any single men in the congregation. And that's low-key manipulation. Because the men aren't flocking to the churches because the churches are catered to women. The sermons shame men and pamper women. The programs be women brunches, women conferences, women's night. The churches know who paid the tithes. It's the women. So they selling the women these dreams while cashing their checks. And let's be real. The men that are in the churches are either one, already married, gay, or looking for some silly woman to take advantage of. You gotta ask yourself, if the church is really about family, why is it full of single mothers, single women, and empty of men? Because the Black church needs the women single, desperate, and waiting. Because if you had the family that you prayed for, then they wouldn't be able to control you.
Okay, that was very interesting, her point of view. Very interesting. Okay. Okay, what are you ladies' thoughts on that? Do you think the church is intentionally encouraging women to be single, or do you think that's just a product of, okay, I'll save my thought. Answer that question. What do you think, Dr. Alicia?
I think it's unfair to scapegoat any one reason why somebody is single. I think the Black church does a really good job of empowering Black women. There is nothing wrong with being independent. You can be independent and be married at the same time. There's interdependence in a marriage, but it's okay to be independent and also have a mate. So I don't know why independence means I can't date anybody. All of us are independent. You were functional before you started dating whoever you're dating. So if that ends, you can still be a functional person. So let's not scapegoat church and put all the blame on church. There's a lot going on between men and women, and we could digest and deconstruct all of those things. But that's not fair to put all of that on the Black church. They're doing their job.
Yeah. Yeah. What do you think, Tiara?
I think that it's interesting because I think that Black women sometimes can get caught up a little bit in what they're doing. Like we're committed, we're ride or die, and you're going to this church and you're saying like, I just want to focus on myself and God and my relationship with God. And it's easy to just start to have those types of goals where it's, you kind of like, you're enamored, or you're enamored with the idea of getting married, but you're so caught up with your involvement with the church, you're not maybe not actively looking for a partner. Maybe there's not, you know what I mean? I think sometimes Black women can be a little caught up in the things that we do. And it's like, okay, I work, I go to church. I'm not thinking about no man right now, honey. You know, it's that, right? And if
Yeah.
there's not the opportunity to meet men at your church, then it kind of leaves you in a situation where you like, my Boaz is coming, like she said. And when God is ready for me to meet a man, I will. And when Jesus sends me my husband, I will. It kind of like makes it all external instead of you saying like, let me get some lipstick on and go outside and meet a man, right? It kind of takes that away, like you just waiting on Jesus to send a man to your doorstep. And I just don't, you know, that it's a thing. It's a thing.
I'm gonna throw something. I'm gonna throw something in there, and I'm gonna marry. We need to throw on our lipstick and go outside, right? And this is true. I feel that, but from what I've seen in the church, a lot of times is they kind of demonize that behavior. Like, you don't need to be out in the clubs. You don't need to be out in the labs. You need to, you know what I'm saying? So, yeah, it's like a catch-22 a little bit. Mary, what do you think?
I don't like church at all. And so that's just, my honest, I feel like church is what is part of the problem that holds us back. And I saw a comment in the, someone asked, well, if you're not going to church, where do you get your spiritual knowledge from? And so when I did my research and I studied religion, like God was giving me a bar exam himself. Mm-hmm. And the deeper you study in all religions, the blacker that everything got. And then the deeper and deeper I got, I realized I was studying the human mind, the mind, body, and spirit connection that could be taught through everybody's language, which is how I see different religions. And so I just feel like, and the blacker it got. And so there is something magical and mysterious and powerful about Black people that we don't know, because I feel like we're taught about our soul and our relationship to God through religion only.
Yes.
So when you get back to what our ancestors were really doing, you just, you really get your power back. And so and this is my favorite subject. It's something that I talk about with my eyes closed. And I always say my practice is my pulpit, because I give everybody this knowledge as much as I can, as much as they're willing to receive. But Black people are different. We have the ability to open up the heavens, and we have soul power. And that's more than a two-step and some jive turkey stuff. Okay. It's real. And so I think religion is what keeps us from really understanding that power. And then you don't get caught up in the day-to-day. So that, that's me.
I feel that. Why I thought that what she was saying was interesting and a little off to me. I agree with Dr. Alicia, where it's like, we can't put it all on church. There are so many variables on why women or men are single, right? But bringing it back to the church, the young lady said that 70 to 80% of people who attend the church are women, right? And she's saying that the church caters to women. Well, they're catering to women because women are there.
Yeah.
I feel there's a connection between 70 to 80% of women being in church. There's a connection between that. And I'm not saying a lot of men are not doing their work, but I do believe that there's a connection between the amount of women who attend church and those women wanting to be better and ascend in a way, right? Whether that's religiously or spiritually, right? And I think that we're going to go to a commercial, but we need to face the fact that also the numbers are skewed. Like, the numbers are skewed against women. There aren't enough men to go around for every woman. So what are we supposed to do? Just sit around and wait? We'll go to commercial. We'll be right back.
It's a good show right here. But I'm biased. If you are just tuning in, you are watching Fly Nubian Money, where we help you master your mindset and maximize your money. My name is Tiara Williams. I'm also known as Miss Black Hollywood, and I'm the proud producer of this show because it is lit. If you want to receive notifications for when we go live Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All you have to do is text the word Queens to 87948. That's Queens to 87948. That's QUEENS to 87948. Also, If you want to grow your money and not blow your money, all you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. There's all kinds of resources, there's courses, there's free giveaways. There's just no reason to be broke in 2025. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoney.com. Obviously, you don't want to be entertained here. You want to know enough to grow. Wait, I need to put that on a shirt. You got to know to grow. Got to know to grow. So know and grow.
The black church caters to the black woman. And the reason the black church caters to the black woman is because the black woman is the provider. She has more income and education than the man. So they're looking at this financially. They also have a vested interest in her never getting there. The pastor is the metaphorical husband of all the single women in the community. I'm not saying he's sleeping with them. I'm saying he's keeping them so distracted with Jesus that they never find a husband, and that's the way he wants it to stay. Because if she finds a husband, she won't have as much time to be donating to the church home. Wow. So the black church benefits from single motherhood. They don't want our sisters married because their pockets would go down.
Okay. Welcome back to Fly Nubian Money. And today we're talking about the black church and if the black church is emphasizing independence, black women being independent versus black women building families. And so that was interesting, what Dr. Umar just said. So I said before the commercial break. I said before the commercial break, like we have these, there's so many videos, y'all, thousands and thousands of videos about what men are doing wrong, what women are doing wrong. If we just narrow this down and go to the basics, right? The number of available men, to the number of available women, those numbers are off. So is the black church emphasizing singledom for women, or are they just serving a community who frequents their church? What do you think about that, Mary?
Are they just servicing? I think they're just servicing it's the women that's making the programs. It's the women that's putting on the programs at the church. It's the women that's serving. It's the women that's showing up. And we have that, outside of just across society, period. I think it is, all ancient religion and all ancient texts spoke about the rise of the sacred feminine. They spoke about a time where women would rise in power, where women would ascend to power. And it ain't just women and minorities, women and people of color. Everything that the man tried to suppress is we're moving into that time that all ancient texts spoke about, where we're all rising in power. So yes. I think it's more that than anything else, that we have become more powerful and intuitive, and the men have not, and our men in particular have been oppressed, and so they're becoming the weakest link. Okay.
Yes, and that's the thing. I think again, the focus is going on demonizing the women for going to church and listening to Jesus and all that kind of stuff, when they're just trying to be fulfilled as human beings, right? And do the best that they can. And again, the numbers, there are more women available. There are more women. Dr. Alicia, what do you think about that?
Well, first of all, Umar Johnson, I guess he's competing with churches for donations too. That's what, because wasn't he begging? Wasn't he crying and begging women?
He was. I don't know if that clip was before
or
after.
What was that? What was all of that? Maybe he felt like the church is taking his money. But, the thing is that Black women are reliable. They're trustworthy. Yes. And they're going to show up.
They're going to show up.
Yeah. And I don't want to demonize Black women who go to church every Sunday. I don't, because I don't need it right now. Yes. Maybe I will in the future. I'm on my own path, and I am dedicated and committed to the path that I'm on, even if it takes me back to church, wherever it takes me. But there's a coping mechanism that Black women are dealing with, a lot of struggles during the week. And if that's what you need to get you through the week on a Sunday,
Yes.
then what is wrong with using that for
Right.
what it needs for you? It's fulfilling some purpose for
Yes.
you. And I think it's beautiful that you do it. Go ahead. I mean, yeah, we can get into high control religions and religious trauma, which I do have a lot of clients who have been injured psychologically with high control religions that are abusive in a lot of ways, but not everything, right? Not in every way take advantage of your money, spiritual warfare. I have seen this, but outside of those boundaries, if it is a coping mechanism that helps you get through your week, puts you in the frame of mind that is congruent with how you want to live your life and to raise your children in this home, I say clap it up for them. It's a beautiful thing. Go and pay your tithes or dedicate your time. Tithes doesn't have to be money. It could be your time. And so, I think it's helpful for mental health for the people who need it. I think it's beautiful. Keep going.
Yes.
Yeah.
Tiara, so in that vein, and talking about women, and there's so many women in the church, where are the men? So, I'm hearing, from what I'm hearing from the clips, it's like people saying, oh, the church is like catering to these women. But then, if they really want relationships, right? Wouldn't they hear that and be like, oh, there are women at the church. Let me go to church because there are women there, right?
Do
Black
that.
men feel the same pressure, do you think, around marriage and family from the church or from society as a whole? Because I would think if I'm a single brother and I'm looking for some women who are trying to level up their lives and all that kind of stuff, I might be looking in the church.
Yeah, I mean, I think Black men do that. I mean, I'm pretty sure a lot of Black men that come to the church on Sunday are there for God, but also like, sis on the third pew is fine, right? Like, I'm pretty sure that's also happening. I mean, that happens everywhere we are. But I guess if the question is, where are the men? What was the question again, Shalay? I'm sorry.
So why aren't more men doing it? I get that some men do it. Why, if men are, if we're saying that there's this epidemic of loneliness with men now, right? And Black men know that in the church there are lots of Black women. Why are they not going there? Why are they not going there in larger numbers?
Yeah, I just think it's there's a bit of the structure of the Black church may not work for some Black men because of, again, the way it's run. They have this charismatic pastor who is there kind of like doing his thing and leading and like, I mean, I do think I can see it, right? I can see both sides of all things, right? When I go, it's a bit, I feel like if you're able to kind of stand outside of the magic of church, right? The magic of all the production that's happening and just focus on the spirit. Because that's really all, I feel like when I go to church, and I can only make this personal, I do go to church regularly, and it's not about like I think that it's a beautiful place for community. I think you said something about, Chalet, about people coming together. There's an agreement when you walk through the doors that at least those people that are there are trying to be better human beings. They might not get it right, they might not be the best, whatever it is, but it's an agreement that like, hey, I want to follow this type of lifestyle. And I think congregating with those kind of people is healthy, right? In the way, like, I want to be a good human being. Cool.
Yeah.
Right, but you might. So I guess what I'm saying, the structure may not work for some Black men, and so they don't do it. And then in terms of us throwing around like that there's not enough men for Black women, I know that what the numbers say, and I understand that. It's hard for me to not to think in scarcity when it comes to this thing. Like, we are so like programmed for scarcity. It's insane when it comes to these kind of things. But I understand there are men available for Black women. Now, if they are all Black, I'm not sure, but I think that whatever you're looking for, you can find, right? So I just say that across the board. Maybe the structure is not conducive for Black men, but I don't feel like, I know, and then I'm sure we didn't mean it this way, because I don't want to jump out and say like Black men are the weakest link and all of that. Like, I just think that wherever they're spending their time, wherever they feel empowered, is where they're going. And whether that's where they are, that's where you can find them. So if you look for a Black man, go where they're empowered. We have men's leadership in our church, and
Mhm.
there are men's groups, and the brothers come together and they stand together. So there's a healthy balance at my church, which I appreciate. That it's just not a whole bunch of women standing around, waiting for husbands.
Yeah, and I like what you just said. And when I said about the numbers, I'm talking about Black men and Black women specifically.
Mhm.
Is there one Black man to every Black woman? Like just by numbers? No, there isn't. But I love what you just said, and not just saying encouraging everyone to go date outside of your race. I think that people should do what they love to do, right?
I mean, but the diaspora is wide, right?
The diaspora
Like,
is
find you a
wide,
Nigerian
but I
man,
feel that
baby.
women should
There's
just
black,
be open. Yes.
there's Black men in the Caribbean and Europe, and
Yeah, but
we
then
all over
so-
this place. Like, it's not
Yes.
not just like if you can't find an American man, just look abroad. It's cool, but there is somebody for everybody. I can't.
There is
accept
definitely somebody for everybody. So that's what I wanted to harp on and what you said and what I love. There is someone for everyone. I also think, and not to get too far down the weeds with that, I also think that Black women, and I feel like especially Black women in the church, believe that they need to just be beholden to Black men. And I want to say that as Black women, we should be open to the best love that we're receiving. And it may not come in that form, right? Even if you have that preference, it may not come in that form. So just keep an open mind.
Look across the diaspora. Tyrone is also in England. Tyrone is also in Nigeria.
Tyrone
His
is
name
in
just different.
England.
Like,
Okay.
listen, don't be. I don't know. Okay,
I'm open
all
to
right.
I've done it. I've done
I
it.
don't
I've done
know.
long distance. I'm open to all of it. I'm just saying be open to all of it. I feel like sometimes we close our minds off to all of the options, right? All right, let's hit a commercial. We'll be right back.
I know you're busy, you got things to do, and you can't take us on the go with you every single day. Good news for you. We are now on Spotify. So if you can't watch us, now you can listen to us on Spotify. Search Fly Nubian Money and all the episodes shall appear. All you have to do is like, subscribe, leave a 5-star rating, leave some comments, tell people how you love us so that when other people come along and are looking for a great show to watch, they can find Fly Nubian Money too. One last thing, and just in case you've been sitting under a rock, Fly Nubian Money now has an investment club. We are the Fly Nubian Money Club. It's easy. All you have to do is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com, and I am committed to bringing in top experts from all industries to help you level up. They're teaching us the skills that we need to compete in this market. We often say that nobody is coming to save us, not the government, but guess what? We're coming to save us. I'm coming to save you with the Fly Nubian Money Club. So listen, all you have to do again is go to flynubianmoneyclub.com. We have a 30-day free trial set up just for you, just for those people that are struggling. Even if you ain't struggling, you ain't got to struggle. I'm coming. Okay, let me stop playing. I'll see you soon.
The church keep women single. I've heard a lot of people say that, and usually it's coming from men. The concept is that because the church is teaching women how to be married God's way, it's actually keeping them single. So here's the thing. It's not the church keeping women single. It's the church raising the standards of women. The reason women are single is because they had such low standards. They were dating guys like the people who say these types of things. These are the types of guys that all they want to do is have sex with you and be with you for 10 years without any actual commitment. So yes, the church is trying to get these women away from men like that so they can be prepared for the guy that God has from them. The longer a woman is dating men like that, they're in mess. And when they're in mess, God is not going to bring them a godly man who wants to marry them. God is not going to send his man to mess. So our job as the church, as leaders, is to raise the standards. So if you don't want to raise your standards and you're okay with just sleeping around for the next 10 years, you have no desire to get married. Yeah. What we're talking about, the church, is going to be so foreign to you. It's going to feel like we're trying to keep you single. But what we're trying to do is get you married to the right guy God has for you.
Okay, well, okay. You know what? I agree. I agree with that. I agree that women who are either spiritually or connected to a religion most of the time, if they're really into that spirituality or that religion, they are going to have some higher standards because they're being taught something or something different, right? A comment from the chat, Ekang Farmer, he said, men are not going because they can't relate. And so that kind of, ties into what this gentleman was just saying. Maybe they can't relate, and Ekang, you can give your perspective. Maybe they can't relate because it's just too many standards to meet in order to date a woman who is highly spiritual or is highly intuitive, or a woman who is going to church and working on herself. Dr. Alicia, what do you think about that?
Oh, I'm thinking about the whole cycle here. So what happens is that if Black women digest the fact that there's not enough men to go around, what happens psychologically? You lower your standards and you become cheaper. We'll just put it that way. And then when you lower your standards, then men aren't going to take you seriously and they're not going to come through for you. And then you go to church feeling all heartbroken. But guess who comes through all the time? Jesus will. And so you're like, these men ain't going to come through, but Jesus always come through right on time. And it's this cycle. And I think that it's like, it's not good. It's like if you have, I think the key is get rid of the numbers game. Do what Tiara is saying. Come from a place of abundance. Because when I was on the dating scene, it was men from all over. And I was like, who I got to be with now? It was really a lot because I wasn't even thinking. Honestly, I was naive. Maybe naive is a good thing in some way. Yeah. I didn't even know that there wasn't an abundance, right? So just delete all of that in your head because it was people out there, right? So it was plenty. Mm-hmm. And it had nothing to do with looks. It had nothing to do with anything because I know a lot of really, really awesome, amazing women who say that. And so I wonder about their what information they're getting and how it's being portrayed for them. So it is really, I think this is a fascinating thing, how the heartbrokenness and feeling let down, which as a therapist, I do connect. Letting people down is a man who lets you down can be related to your dad who let you down. And we have so many women here who have been disappointed and let down and felt abandoned and felt hurt and felt, left behind by their fathers in a lot of different ways. We can get into that too, how God the Father can step in and take the place of that psychologically, and how some of that pain can bleed through, pun intended, to your significant other. So there's a dynamic there that's related to some attachment disruptions and how the church can step in and kind of heal some of those attachments. And at one point, you do need to get to the point where you need to try to deal with some of the interpersonal issues related to relationships that I think is unique to Black men and women in that sense. So, yeah.
Oh, that's a good point, Dr. Alicia. I don't try to get lost in, I don't usually get lost in we're having a discussion. So that's why I said the thing about the numbers, which is because that's what I heard. That hasn't been my experience either. But I also have a lot of girlfriends, growing up who have had this issue dating or being in a relationship. I never thought of it as there aren't enough men to go around. But then you get on social media and you hear that these numbers, and I'm like, oh, well, that could be a really true stat. Not saying to focus on it, but it could be a really true stat. And if it is a true stat, is it realistic for us to just be spouting or asking why women are single and, things like that? Is Tiara, go ahead.
Yeah, I just want to, before we go in that direction, I just want to respond directly to the video. And I'm a little nervous, right, about what he just said, right, where you have women, the church programming women to raise their standards so high that everybody under there, like the men that are available, cannot meet those standards, and then they end up single, right? So you don't take the purpose of going to church is to be received and come as you are, even if you're broken. And I'm not saying take a broken, raggedy man. I'm not saying that, but your husband is not going to appear perfect. And if we're all looking for the level of Jesus or God, or even your pastor, the perception of who your pastor is, you're gonna always be single because you're looking for perfection. When really, I don't think that's I don't think that's the gag. I don't think that's what we should be looking for. So I'm a little alarmed by what I just watched, only because of that. It just kind of, again, keeps women single because they're looking for perfection as opposed to.
I want to jump in because as a therapist, I have been talking to a lot of women about raise your standards. What did he just do? What did he just say? Please raise your. I think Black women are lowering their standards to a place where they are not, like, have some dignity. He just pissed you off, and you need to take that anger and you need to put some boundaries around stuff. Like I am having all of these conversations about trying to get women to really raise their standards because it is rough.
I think that raising your standards, that should be the standard, raising your standards. But to Tiara's point, you go to church every Sunday. Is that what they're teaching at your church? That it's like an impossible standard that men need to meet? Because when I go to church and when I've gone to church, I didn't get that the standard was impossible. Like, be a good person, like show up, like be supportive, like don't be an asshole. Like I didn't get the perfection thing, but you go to church every Sunday. What is the climate around that?
Well, I'm not saying that the men are perceived. I don't even see this. I'm just literally responding to what he said. And it just makes me think about when I'm watching the internet, which I don't think is a real place as opposed to the real world, right? You said that earlier, like when you're looking at the internet, I just take everything with a grain of salt because I see that there's like the internet and then there's like the life that we're actually living here in real time. And it's not the same. But so it's that I'm not seeing that, but I'm saying that when we get on the internet, we're seeing these women saying, if the man doesn't have this and he doesn't have that and he doesn't have this, then I can't date him. He can't even get a date with me. Like I just don't want that to be the vibe when you also go to church. If he's not perfect and like Jesus and do all the right things, I just don't. It's gonna keep us single, y'all. That's what I'm saying.
But like, I don't know. Sometimes women choosing to be single, if it's better than dating someone else, then single should be, it's not a terrible thing. And a lot of women do not want to date down. That's, you're not having unrealistic standards, but do I want to date somebody that is less than me and it makes less than me, considerably a lot less than me? And it's not that makes him a bad person, but usually it's going to make him a bad person because his self-esteem is going to be low. He's going to be the one that looks in the mirror and doesn't like what he sees and look at me and then build that resentment towards me because I'm flying over here and I want you to fly too. But if I help you fly, then you feel less of a man, right? Or you feel like I'm trying to tell you what it just does. That don't work. And so that's where it feels like, I think as the whole, a lot of them can step because the Black women are flying now. We're flying. And sometimes that flying high takes you out of that bracket of the many because they look at you and they lust for you because you're a pretty girl and that's what people do. Right. But beyond that,
they're not willing to step it up.
Are you able to, appreciate even my mind, lust for my mentality? Yes. I think that has probably more to do with it than anything else.
That is a very true perspective. I've actually experienced that.
I know you have.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and it's like, okay, how far are we going down with these standards? We're not. We're not going down with standards. And the standard isn't perfection and it isn't Jesus. But and even the pay thing, right? If a woman can be with a man who makes less than her, and a man, he's fine, he brings other things to the table, and he can be with that woman without trying to bring her down or resenting her, that will work. I believe that what works for two people works for two people, and different people bring different value to a relationship. You may have a man who doesn't make as much as you, but he supports your vision. and he's setting up the camera for you, and he's carrying your briefcase when you need to, or he's doing behind the scenes video when you're having an interview with somebody. He's supporting you in another way that's not financial, but it's also causing you to be able to do what you do. So I think that all that goes into it too. Mary, I want to ask you, so Black women, so we're talking about finances, right? So how can Black women protect themselves financially while navigating these expectations of dating and church and society and things like that? How do we not become someone who, and I've seen this happen too, investing so much, I'm talking about money and time and effort into a man because you're trying to bring him to where you think he should be?
I've just found that you can't do that with no man. When it comes to bringing up a man to to your level, I don't think that that's ever going to work. I just, a man, part of being a man is grabbing your, nuts and making it work and bringing yourself up. That's what makes a man have that bravado and that self-esteem and that I am the man, hear me roar, rah, rah, rah. And I like my man like that. Beat on your chest, baby, because you did that. So I want you to, I want you, but if I know anytime if I help him, then he's going to feel less than a man. He's going to resent me for my help. Now, you can be a helpmate to a king, right? I could be an assistant to a king. But if it's the other way around, if that man didn't start off in the king's seat with you and you can support, I believe if he starts off in the king's seat and he goes to the joker and you help him come back to the king's seat, that's different because he you can support your man in that. He was a king. He's always a king. He's just having a joker moment. But if it's a joker and he has always been a joker.
What do you mean by joker? You mean a man who assists a woman is a joker?
No, I'm just by joker. I just mean a man who has not self-actualized, self-realized.
Okay.
His life is a joke. He is not taking his life serious. He has no serious purpose. He's not providing for anyone. He's barely providing for himself. That ain't even his big purpose. So that's a joker because he takes his life as a joke. Right.
Okay.
Now, what can I do with a joker? I can't pray into him enough. I can't, inspire into him enough. I can't give him enough affirmation because that growth has to come from within.
That's
your
true.
Your talk with God, all of that has to come from within. I can't put it in you.
Okay.
If you already have it and you're trying to go to another level, then I can nurture something like that. You can birth something like that.
Yes.
But so as a woman, I stay in my place. I understand that I'm strong. I understand, but I ain't that strong. When a man come in the room, no, I'm not that strong. You can get that for me. You can. I sit back and allow the men to do the men to men, right? But a lot of men are intimidated because they know that they can't man for you.
And that's the intersection that I feel like there's a disconnect. And I feel like a lot of men they just have not done the work. And I'm not generalizing all men or all Black men, but they just haven't done the work. So when they show up, they're like, oh shit. Oh, is she pretty? I like her and everything. And I want this woman, but I'm not willing to do the work to become the man that I need to be with this woman. And on that note, we're going to take a break. It look like Tiara and Dr. Alicia got stuff to say. So we're going to take a break and we're going to come back.
Are you a Black business owner looking to expand your reach? Well, has Fly Nubian Money got good news for you? We are building a Black business directory to connect you with customers who need your services. And here is the best part. It is absolutely free. Email us at info@realvirtual.net. Send us your business name. Tell us a little bit about what you do, what services you offer, your website address, and your contact information. That's it. Together, we are going to build and circulate the Black dollar. Get listed today and start connecting with people who are probably already looking for you.
Y'all, welcome back. Welcome back. We are talking today about the Black church and if the Black church emphasizes Black women and independence over building family. And this conversation, we can go down so many roads with this conversation. The chat is on fire. I can't with y'all in the chat. And Anonymous, you said something I want to go back to, but I'm gonna find it. Dr. Alicia, you were doing a lot of this and hums and ha's, and I see it. What do you have to say about
Oh,
what you were
let
saying?
me tell you, Mary Dean, stop. You give me stop. Okay, I like what everybody is saying, because we cannot define ourselves by whether we're in a relationship with somebody or not. We can't. That is not our entire identity. Is not based on I'm gonna be a wife. That's not it. You're so many other things, and it doesn't have to be surrounded around this one sort of status. And yeah, I mean, if you're with a man and his external life is chaotic, he's going to bring this chaos into your life. I mean, it just happens that way. If he's committed to growth in all of his perfect imperfections that all of us have, if he's committed to growing and he's committed to learning, and he has a good self-esteem so that he can do, if you don't have a self-esteem, you're not going to grow, because you're going to be taking your issues out on your partner, which happens a lot. But if you feel good about yourself in general, you are committed to learning and growing with another person. That's beautiful. Those are the people who are ready for being in a relationship with someone. But if you're stuck in your ways and you're not flexible and you're very rigid and you don't compromise, and you have a lot of negative connotations, negative attitudes about what women need to do, and they need to adhere to this strict gender role, it's going to be very difficult for you in this 2025. Is going to be very difficult for you to find somebody, church or no church, because church has to kind of adapt to the times. This is a modern world that we live in, and church has got to get on top of it. And they have been adjusting a lot. They've been introducing some hip hop into church. They're doing all sorts of things to bring people back, because since COVID, let's just face it, the attendance in church has gone down, and they haven't been able to pull people back into the church because we've all been, I don't know, Mary, maybe we've been sitting and meditating and listening to our affirmations and feeling like we don't need it, but that's a problem they need to figure out. So yeah, I mean, I think it's a commitment to growth. It is women not being identified in and holding ourselves to this identity that's based on being in a relationship with someone else. So
Yes.
we need to get away from that.
I agree. Society and social media puts that pressure. Like, if you're a woman and you're single, and Tiara, maybe you can speak to this in the church, but like in society, if you're a woman and you're single, just in this day and age and online, it's like, what's wrong with you? And some women just want to be single because that is the better option. But Tiara, like, how do men and women communicate these expectations that are shaped by the church's teachings? Like, if a woman is in church and she's getting certain teachings, but she's dating a man that's maybe outside of church, how do they communicate to get on the same page?
Yeah. I think it's always important to have alignment with whoever you're with, right? So if you meet him and there's things about him that you like that align with yourself spiritually, like, don't meet somebody and they're completely opposite of whatever it is that you believe in. You like, well, I need a man, so I'm just gonna take him, even though he worships the devil. Like, you find what works for you. You meet someone that is, you meet people, hopefully that have like minds, and you're attracted to people, hopefully that are healed and that that are looking for the things that you are looking for. So I think it's just communication across the board. But I think that also, just real quick, in response to all the things that have been said, like Dr. Alicia, I like this conversation a lot because I'm just listening. But once we get into like the conversations that kind of reflect what's happening on the internet, I'm so glad you said, Dr. Alicia, like talking about compromise and what works for that particular couple, because the things that may not work for Mary Dean may work for Chalet, and what works for me, it just, we're looking for our partners, the people that are good for us, not necessarily for everybody else. And if we listen to the internet, they'll tell us all kind of things. And we'll have these rigid, I think, thoughts about what a man is supposed to look like. I hate the internet, if I'm being honest. I hate those. You can get on the internet and just scroll, and it's just like, I hate men, and scroll up, I hate women. Oh, it feels like that's all day long, right? I'm not dating down. I'm only dating up. Hypergamy is the way. Like, I just all day long. And
Yes.
it has to
Tiring.
get exhausting, right, for us.
Yeah.
Because like I said, the internet is not real life. You go outside and you just meet genuine people that are interesting, and like I'm just more interested in real life, Chalet. I don't know. The internet I think internet got people just talking just to be saying stuff. So
Yes, and that's the thing that's confusing the conversation. It's like, yeah, we need to have these conversations, but I think that there's so much noise and there's so many conversations and they're all so contradictory and they're all like it's red pill, blue pill, yellow, the green. Like it's very confusing where I think we're getting away from the basics. Like you just said, alignment. Someone you're in alignment with. They may not have the money. They may not, if that's okay with you, that's okay with you. That doesn't mean that you've lowered your standard because that's your standard. If that's your standard, right? And Anonymous, gotta shout him out. He said, dudes with stuff going on aren't checking for independent women. See, this is the type of these are the type of remarks that we've heard this stuff from Kevin Samuels and just from the internet. It's like that's not true. It's not true. Go ahead, Mary.
Well, my experience has been quite the opposite. And so, and I love what you just said about everybody. Your story is, and your commentary is a reflection of the life that you have walked. And I say that's true about everybody with their spiritual choices and preferences. Your growth, everybody has we're all at different levels and whatever. Do what works for you. But to that comment, I wanted to comment on that. That has not been my experience. The multimillionaire that I fell in love with in my 30s, who I call the Black Bull of Wall Street, who financed BlackWallStreet.com, bought it for $75,000. Yes, he did. And gave me much more than that. Okay. $250,000. Here you go, boo. Here goes some play money for you. Love that man dearly. And he loved the fact that I was an attorney. He loved the fact that I was a beautiful Black attorney. That here go my lawyer. Yeah, she looked like that. Here go my lawyer. He always, everywhere we went, I was celebrated. And so for me, I had to make that choice because when I got around men who made less than me and who saw themselves as less than me, because I'm an entrepreneur. Some days it's feast, some days it's famine.
Okay.
So you was that I'm a baller shot caller because God blessed me to shine like that. Okay. But men that had less than me, in the dating realm, those were the problems. It was the low self-esteem. And the men who were multimillionaires tend to have, especially those that manifested it, co-created with God. That self-esteem, when you co-create with God and you know who you are, you're powerful. And so I'm not down in, people who say, I just want a man that he ain't got to have a job. I'll take him as he comes. Do what works for you. But I found for me, they try to downplay these degrees. They try to make me feel a kind of way because I have those. They're not celebrated with men who have less, but men who have more, that's who I appreciate the woman that I am. So
alignment. We just need to alignment. Every time you meet somebody, you just alignment. Nah, okay, I'm going on. We have some stats. Let's go to the stats.
We do have some stats. Yes, we do.
Surveys show that over 60% of Black women report, who's reporting, being financially independent, with many citing church and community support as a positive influence. Okay, awesome. And you know what I'm saying? So I believe we have another video, and then I have a question for y'all, and it kind of is in line with the stat that we just saw. So let's take a look at the video.
Oh, okay. All right.
The church is so full of Black women and very few men. Amen. While you could go in church with 500 people and it'd be maybe 5 marriages. And those are the leadership. So what they do is they cater to single women and make them feel comfortable about their singleness. Y'all heard what I said. That's why I remember I told you I stopped speaking words into y'all. I stopped doing that. Why y'all think I stopped doing that? Because people get off on affirmation. They want tell me what God go. Tell me who I am. Tell me all this, and they fall in love with that. And that's why every message has to be your season, your harvest, your breakthrough. What God's gonna do for you. You know who you are. You know you going to the next. All that stuff they got to do it because women will continue to give as long as they're affirming. But the biggest churches are the ones that affirm the best. That every service he got to give her a shout, give her that good feeling, and she gonna pay. And this is the reason why the black church is designed to not have marriages, because the goal is to emotionalize the females, because the females lead the house now and they pay. And that's why when you really start building up men are logical.
Okay. Ladies, we should be comfortable being single. We should be comfortable in our own skin no matter what stage of life we are at. We should be comfortable. Don't let nobody out here tell you because you're single that there's something wrong with you and you should not be comfortable right where you are. You should not be the best person you can be right now and you need another person to make you that. Please. Number one. Okay. Alignment. That should just be on a shirt. That we should just have it on our cars. Just alignment, right? Okay. So I have a question. Okay. So we've talked about the Black church, whether or not it is, promoting Black women being independent, financially free, whether or not that's a bad thing. What financial lessons do women gain from the church culture? What are some positive things that we can extract from the church culture? Because there is that too. Tiara, what do you think?
They teach financial literacy in my church, which I think is really dope. I think they have some investment clubs. Of course, I have my own here with the Fly Nubian Money Club, so I have not been part of that. But financial literacy, there's a young lady that teaches estate planning at our church, which I think is dope, and it's something that I hadn't seen in church. It's something that I hadn't, conversations about money in church is just like, oh, pray to the Lord for money, but not at my church. They don't talk like that. It's more like, okay, let's make a goal, do a thing, be a doer, right? You can't just sit around and pray for it. You actually have to, walk and do. So I love that. I think like the idea of tithing, although tithing gets a bad rap, but I think investing a small percentage of what you make into a place that you come to regularly and worship is like investing in anything. Like if you go anywhere and are involved, it's a way to support that community. And so I like that. But the whole idea is like at home, I was like, okay, let's tie different things into, you can just take 10% and put, if you're going to take 10% and put it at the church, you could take 10% and put it in an investment account. You could take 10% and do this. So I do think that there are things if you're looking for them and not just taking them as negative. Because, the first thing I think some of us say is like, oh, the preacher's robbing everybody and all of these negative things. When really, if you just look around, you come to a place and you worship. It's just a way of giving back like anything else. So.
Yeah. No, I agree. Dr. Alicia, what do you think about that? What do you think are some good aspects, financial aspects that women might get from the church?
It's hard to answer that because I grew up Catholic, and the whole idea of preaching prosperity is very foreign to the values that was instilled in me as a Catholic schoolgirl. And it was, what I grew up on was more of you need to transcend the need for money and material things and transcend all of that and get into a place where no one was shaming you. Like there was no shame in my church, whatever status you are, nobody looked at you. No one preached to that. They preached to something bigger than the material world. So that's what I got from birth on up to 8th grade confirmation. And there we go. And so it's strange to me to dive into prosperity preaching because it was nothing I had ever heard of. It was always love. It was always acceptance. It was always sharing and caring. You were in the Catholic church that I grew up in, you were honored based on how much you gave to someone else. Your giving, your generosity, that is when you got accolades. It was more to how you serve others instead of how you can have this prosperity. So it's odd to me to fuse the two, because we wore uniforms for that same reason. They didn't want us to have one person wearing designer clothes and another person not wearing it. We all are going to be uniform. And so it takes away who's got money and who doesn't have money, which, you know, that's the spirit behind wearing uniforms. So it's strange to me. It's not something that I would see together. And I think because of that, maybe I just never really digested the need for materialism, because that's not what was taught to me growing up as a Catholic schoolgirl.
Interesting. Mary, what do you think? What do you think are some possible good aspects of women going to church and what they can extract from that experience financially?
I'm going to say community. I think the big thing is just finding a community, a family, a support group, a support system of people who are, you know, doing the right thing, trying to do the right thing, trying to be good people. And so when I found myself stumbling back into church, you know, I grew up in church. If I didn't go to church on Sunday, we couldn't do nothing else that day. You can't go to the skating rink if you couldn't go to church. If you can go to the skating rink, you can go to church.
Because I'm going to say, Mary, you sound like when you speak, you sound like someone who was raised in the church.
Oh, I was. And my spirituality where I am now was grounded in that. I manifested my first miracle at 9 years old. I was 9 years old when I asked God to do something and he did it. So from the age of 9, I am a grown woman now. I have always knew that I could open up the heavens and extract things in my physical world. And so as I matured, though, once I became an attorney, I'm in law school. It is grilled in my brain that you don't trust anybody's research but your own. And so if you have not studied it and found it to be true, then it ain't true. And so my spiritual walk has only matured from there. And the more that I studied, the more I changed. You will never go back the same. And so I think that the thing that my grandmother gave me that has never left me was to always have a personal relationship with God.
Yes.
And from there, everything else that you need can come. Knowledge that you need can come. You can and you can trust it when you have that bond, when the bond is there. So I think the relationship that transcends religion, right? The relationship that you have with God and that power, and then community.
Yes.
But I've also found I've also found that when I've stumbled into churches looking for that community, and I've been let down and stumbled out. But I want to give a shout out to B1 and my Fly Nubian Money family here on the live, because I've stumbled into this community looking for that same thing. So I love you, ladies. I'm happy to be here with you.
That's awesome. And that's beautiful. Y'all, we're going to go to our final thoughts. And this has been a great conversation today. Let's see what our final thoughts are, ladies. Tiara?
Hey, so listen, I thought this was really an enriching conversation. I knew that you guys would give me some good thoughts between the panelists and the audience. Thank you so much for watching, y'all. I guess my final thought is this: we all have to do what works for us. You know, those women that go to the church and they are there, like we have all said, for community. And I don't believe they're being exploited, but I would love to just tell women who, I remember one time talking to my aunt, and she is in her 70s now. And I was like, don't you want to date? And she was like, no, I got Jesus. I'm fine. And it kind of hurt my heart, because I feel like life is not over for you. Like life is not over. She was telling me somebody liked her, and she was like, she just sounds so bitter about life. And so I would just say, for women like that who are kind of, it sounds like fear more than anything else. I think a lot of, women in those situations who are at the church, there's some fear there. It's not necessarily about the pastor and all the things that everyone else has concluded. I think just it's a personal thing. Those women have gotten comfortable, yes, and kind of like their fears of whatever that thing is, abandonment, failure, it not working out, whatever the fear is, they're kind of living in that. So I would just encourage, if you find yourself like single at a church and you want a husband, I would say go outside. Go outside, boo. There is men outside. And you don't have to wait for relationship. Like they're literally, like, a lot of the time I think that we are waiting for God to move in our lives when God is waiting for us to move in our lives. So move in your life and go find what you're looking for, and don't just be sitting at the church. If you are looking for me, I am on this internet as Miss Black Hollywood. If you know or you do not know, I have released an album under the stage name of Karma J, and I'm at karmaj.com if you want to support me directly. And yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you all for like the love that you've given me, and a lot of people have already listened to the album, and I really appreciate it. So thank you. Mwah.
Awesome. That was beautiful, Tiara. Dr. Alicia, what are your final thoughts?
Sorry, I was looking up Karma J online and I got her. I didn't know you would come to me. Okay, two things I want to say. Yeah, I like what Miss Black Hollywood was talking about. If you're bitter, maybe you shouldn't date. Maybe it's just not time for you to date. Maybe when you move out of bitterness, then it'll be time for you. And if you stay in that bitterness, that's your choice. Live with it. Maybe it's good if someone's bitter that they don't enter into a relationship, because that could be harmful for another person. Also, I think, find yourself. You're looking for a man, find you, and your man is sitting right there waiting on you. I met Dr. Boyce in the library, finding myself trying to study, and he was right in the library there, and we study together all the time now. So find yourself, and then your man is right there. So there we go. If you're looking for me, you can contact me at coachingwithdralicia.com and follow me on Instagram, coaching with Dr. Alicia.
Awesome. Thank you, Dr. Alicia. And Miss Mary Dean Esquire, what's your final thoughts?
My final thoughts are, yes, the church gets a bad rap, but I think that as long as you all are doing what works for you, and I'm gonna put you in on a little secret. I have an altar. I keep my ancestor altar in my office, because I don't just pray to Jesus. I pray to my grandmother. I pray to all my ancestors, because I know that they're my first line of defense. And so whatever works for you, go there. I am Mary Dean Esquire at thewallstreetlawyer.com. I founded blackwallstreet.com and my book, blackwallstreet.com, how to build a thriving Black business using the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, the law of correspondence, all of these laws that are immutable. And so if you want to find me and work with me, because I do believe my practice is my pulpit, I do know that I'm spiritually called to do what I do. And so if you want to work with me, you can find me at thewallstreetlawyer.com. You can also find my mission and my movement at blackwallstreet.com. And I'm on across all social media as The Wall Street Lawyer and blackwallstreet.dotcom.
Awesome. Okay, I'm going to keep my final thoughts really, really quick, right? So I feel like, similar to what Dr. Alicia said, self-fulfillment. Self-fulfillment is the catalyst for finding the person who is in alignment with you. Life doesn't start or stop with you being in a relationship. And if we just all seek self-fulfillment and and it just rising and what am I trying to say? And just being secure in ourselves, then I feel like the person who is meant for you will be there, like Dr. Alicia said. I am Shalay Camillo with Vital Source Realty. I'm in Boston, Massachusetts, but I can help you buy or sell real estate anywhere in the United States and Canada. I am on social media at Shalay Camillo. That's IG, Facebook, and YouTube. And you can visit my website at vitalsourcerealty.com. Thank y'all so much for being here with us today. It was a really, really good conversation. Church culture plays a significant role in shaping relationships, financial habits, and personal expectations. And understanding how independence, faith, and community messaging intersect can help Black women and men navigate partnerships while building financial and emotional stability. That is our show for today. Thank y'all so much for coming out. God bless you. Good night. See you tomorrow.
Oh,
Oh, we
hold
saw
on.
it.
No, I got something for them on the way out. Bye, y'all.
Have 83% of the people in the church be single women and talking about how good God is. Yeah, God is good, but I need a man. Okay, single women, talk back to me, because every woman here ain't trying to dig no holes. They're not trying to pay their own bills and take care of their life and be alone all themselves and get dressed up. They don't want to get dressed and put on Victoria's Secret and date Jesus. No, there are some folk that love God, that are single, and they're saying, Lord, will you please send me a man of God that loves you, that will do right and not smack my head in a wall? Oh, now the single women, y'all don't want to talk back to me? There is something wrong when no one wants to acknowledge that there is a gap in the church. You can't keep dancing over the issue. You can't have half the church full of single people and 25% already single with kids and nobody talk about the issue in the church. The problem is, where are the men? Oh, see, ain't nobody want to talk about. Where are the men? Pastor Mose, I'm sick of you already. The church, I'm preaching, for those of you that don't know, I'm preaching in Isaiah because that's where our church is. We've gone through the Bible all year long. We're going one book at a time. We're in the book of Isaiah, so I can only preach to you in Isaiah because that's where we are. And in the book of Isaiah, there are 7 women trying to date one church musician. Can I talk to you? There's something wrong in our church because the altos ain't talking to the sopranos because they're all messing with the same musician. And they don't understand the altos and sopranos are mad at each other, but he's in love with a tenor. Okay, I'm going to come on this side.